radio for a long time, and I've been in it for 28 years. Anybody who's worked in radio a long time will tell you about this persistent dream they have, and I've had this dream since I was I've had this dream probably at least a dozen times in my life, and it's probably the dream I've had more than any other dream I've had in my life, and that is the dead air dream. And it's literally this same dream every time, where you're standing outside of a studio, you could hear the commercial coming back from break, and you can't get into the studio, and everything goes silent. It's the worst. The worst. Oh, it's real. Yeah, it's absolutely real. So we will be joined tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 13 minutes from now, by Jordan Elliott, who will make his debut on the show from Niners Nation. Does a terrific job with that outlet, and we'll get some thoughts with him on where do the Niners go? And that's the reason I'm not talking much about him, because as compelling as this Super Bowl is, what the hell? San Francisco was a game away from the Super Bowl again, and I don't know if there's a team with a bigger question mark at the biggest position, arguably in all of sports, than the San Francisco 49ers. It's crazy. So we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get... Yeah, and I have said all along, and I don't want to spoil the conversation we're going to have with Jordan Elliott, but I will just say this. I have said from day one that as high as I was on San Francisco and all this, I have said from day one, and I will hold firm to this, that if they didn't, short of winning a Super Bowl, they were going to have an open quarterback situation in this offseason. I mean, wide open. Everything from Aaron Rodgers, which is unlikely because I don't think the Packers will trade him within the conference, especially to a team like San Francisco, who they've met up with so many times and have a history with, to Tom Brady, to hell, Jimmy G, to Trey Lance, to Brock Purdy. I think they're all on the table for next year. Again, Rodgers to the minimalist degree, but I think there's so many different options on the table. So anyway, we'll get into that coming up. We're all about betting on this show. Anybody who knows and listens to this program knows we are huge when it comes to sports betting on the macro level. We don't give it to you like some of these outlets and some of these radio networks that want to talk the minutia of sports betting. We're not necessarily doing that sort of thing. But I do want to at least give you the opening lines and where we are in this game. And this game flipped overnight. I think Kansas City was a favorite, or Philadelphia was a favorite. Then it flipped. Now it's flipped back. It's Kansas City plus 1.5 right now. Plus 108 on the money line for the Chiefs, minus 126 for the Eagles. And Kansas City, the total is 49.5 for Kansas City and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. So, you know, it's man, you put the host on the spot. I didn't even know that was coming. Jesus H. Christ. I mean, my early lean is, here's why it has to be Kansas City. I can't be a phony. I haven't bought into Philadelphia all year. And even now that they're in the Super Bowl, I watched that game yesterday, and I look at Philadelphia's postseason. They beat a Giants team that they were highly superior to in nearly every position on the field. So they're supposed to win that game, and they did what they're supposed to do. Then they play against a 49ers team, and granted, the Eagles' physicality had a lot to do with the injuries that took place. Some might even say they're a little dirty. And I think there's something to be said for that. When you got an Ndamukong Suh on your team, you're going to have a little dirty in you. And all you got to do is look at the guy's career before you go, the guy's dirty. He steps on people. So to me, if you ask me right now, I'm still going with Kansas City. I watched Jalen Hurts in that game yesterday, and I don't want to go too crazy into this, but I watched Jalen Hurts yesterday miss a number of guys that were wide open. So I'm still not a believer that from a throwing standpoint, if they need to throw late in that game, and I'm welcome to change my mind anytime between now and the next 12 days from now, but if they need a big throw late in that game against Kansas City in a tight spot, is he going to be able to make it? I'm going to say no. That's it. That's where I am. And I know Patrick Mahomes can make those throws. And I know that guy's willing to put his friggin' life out there in front of everybody, because he did yesterday on that run, the penultimate play in that Chiefs drive to eventually win the game. But I'm right now, if you ask me if I'm putting my money somewhere, it's on Kansas City. And here's the beautiful thing. I'll actually be able to put my money on the game because I'm going to be in Glendale on the day of the game. Now, I can't say anything more than that because we have not made an official announcement, but something's coming on Super Bowl Sunday. If you're a fan of this show, stay tuned. We're going to have news on something we're doing on Super Bowl Sunday. That's all I could say, because we haven't made an official announcement yet, and I don't want to scoop, my bosses or anything else before we do that. But I think the 49ers story going into this off season is a fascinating one, because you've got any number of possibilities. We might not have even mentioned a name that could be the 49ers starting quarterback in 2023, later in 2023. Yeah. Oh, and listen, you want to talk about a guy. I mean, they do well with game managers. Yes. Yeah. And he's he can make all the throws. There's literally, it's going to be like spin a wheel, and that's who's going to be your 49ers quarterback next year. It could literally be anybody. So that's going to be fun. So we'll talk about with Jordan Elliott coming up. And best wishes to Brock Purdy, because, it always amazes me, even sometimes listening to professionals who call the game. And you hear the guys yesterday during the game saying, well, they got to find out if he could throw the ball. And they got to. I'm listening to the announcers on the game, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. And by the way, I've known Kevin Burkhardt for 20 years. And I think Greg Olson does a terrific job. And in the moment, I think we all sometimes will have a tendency to say something that when we go back and think about it, we're like, ugh. And for Greg Olson to constantly be sitting there ragging on the fact that they got to find out if Brock Purdy could throw the ball. Dude, if he could have thrown the ball, don't you think he would have been in there and they wouldn't have gone with Josh Johnson for 2.5 quarters of this game? I mean, he could not throw the ball. And then we find out today, oh, lo and behold, the guy's got a torn UCL in his elbow. I mean, he's gonna miss at least 6 months. But that does put him in line to be ready for the team next season if they decide to go that route. And you got to feel for Brock Purdy, because he goes from, think about this mind F. You know the word I'm thinking of. Mind F word. Yeah, thank you. But think about this mind F, okay? If you're Brock Purdy, you are Mr. Irrelevant. You are the last guy chosen in the draft. The odds of you making anything of yourself in the NFL are slim to none. You got Trey Lance who gets hurt. You got Jimmy Garoppolo who gets hurt. All of a sudden, you're thrust in as the starting quarterback of the 49ers. You don't lose a single game going into the NFC Championship game. Moment of a lifetime, opportunity of a lifetime, and you tear your UCL in that championship game. And now you're talking about a situation where you could go back to practically being Mr. Irrelevant. Now, I know there's going to probably be, if the 49ers decided it wasn't Brock Purdy, some other team eventually would decide that it's Brock Purdy. But here's the problem. They own his rights for like years now. So he could go back to basically being Mr. Irrelevant if the 49ers decide to go and get any number of guys that we've already talked about. I mean, it's the ultimate mind F. It really is. Anyway, Jordan Elliott's going to join us on the other side from Niners Nation. I can't wait to talk to him. He's next. Let's talk Niners football on the Cash-In. I'm Jason Page. This is SportsMap Radio. Holy shnikes. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. John! The guy that I have been working with and training and coaching in bowling, who literally had a 150 average 14 months ago, almost threw a 300 tonight. Almost threw his. He was averaging 155. Yeah. He was averaging 155 when we met, and he shot a 279. He had the first 9 frames. He had strikes. He left a 9 pin. He left 1 pin. He was 2 strikes from a perfect. Well, technically, yeah, he was 2 strikes from a perfect game. It's funny. I haven't talked to you in a while. I bowled a trios tournament with this guy and a female. It had to be a mixed team, so I'd have 1 female or 2 females and 1 guy, whatever. Had to have some mix. Oh, I got to call this guy. Hold on. Oh, my God. I'm all discombobulated. Shit. Dennis Bernstein is on at 8:30. 15 minutes till the top of the hour. We continue on this Friday edition of the show with Nick Ferguson, who does a great job. The Touchdown Denver podcast, NFL safety for a decade. Good to have you with us on a Monday edition of the show. Get back to the calls in a bit. If you're on hold, don't move. 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Hit me up on Twitter at the back page. Also on TikTok. if you're looking for me there. The Jason Page. We're putting up great new content all the time. By the way, Mike Golick on the show tomorrow, formerly of ESPN's Mike and Mike, does the games on Westwood One now, has a podcast as well. Mike Golick on the show tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. Matter of fact, he'll be on right in this slot. We call it our 2-for-1. It's where we put the best of the best. And tonight that includes Jordan Elliott, 49ers reporter over at Fansided, gives us, Niners Nation. Why did I say Fansided? I've Fansided on the brain. Niners Nation does a terrific job over there, gives us some time tonight on the program. Jordan, I find the 49ers, even in defeat, as fascinating a story as they would have been in victory, namely because of what's going to happen at the quarterback position, where you literally could put about 6 names on a wheel and spin it, and one of them has a chance to be the quarterback of this team next season, given the way all of this ended. I thought anything short of a Super Bowl, you were going to have sort of an open quarterback question with this team. Am I wrong?
I think had Purdy not gotten injured, there was a decent chance that he would at least have the opportunity to be the guy to lose the job. I don't think that would have guaranteed he would have been the guy no matter what. But obviously with him now being sidelined for a, substantial amount of time with that UCL injury, I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be the QB carousel we've seen the last 2 years where any report and any kind of smoke with any name connected to the 49ers is going to generate a ton of buzz. And, for as talented as the team was, the offseason is going to be as lively as the actual regular season and postseason games we just finished.
It's so wild for a franchise that we think of as the window being now, and a team that was, a game short of the Super Bowl last year, a team that comes a game short of the Super Bowl this year. We all know how great of a head coach Kyle Shanahan is, even though I thought the team sort of botched this review early in the game yesterday. I know people could sit there and say all they want. Well, nobody had enough angles, and we didn't see it till the break. You could tell by the way the Eagles were rushing to the line that they knew that ball wasn't caught. But anyway, putting all that aside, because I think the quarterback situation there is fascinating. The names I'm looking at right now are everything from Trey Lance to Brock Purdy. Hell, I think even Jimmy G is probably a name that would have to be in the mix. Derek Carr, Tom Brady. I don't think the Packers would trade Aaron Rodgers within the conference, but if they did, hey, he's a Berkeley kid. I mean, is there any one name that sort of sticks out to you in all of those if we're just going to sit here and have some fun speculating?
Absolutely. The name that makes the most sense and truthfully has made the most sense for years to me is Tom Brady. And I think the announcement today with Brock Purdy being out for a substantial amount of time created an even greater chance of that occurring, because I think the 49ers are in a spot now where, Trey Lance is a guy that they obviously believed in. They moved the draft capital to go up and get him, but we don't really have a tangible sample size of him at the NFL level. And he's also recovering from an injury that sidelined him for the majority of this past season, and the timetable on that's a little unclear. And I think when you look at it, just as you mentioned, like this team is so built to win now, and windows in the NFL are so fleeting. And when you start looking at guys like Trent Williams, who's 34 years old, how much longer can he continue to play at the elite level that he's playing at? When you're looking at all these guys they've paid, Deebo Samuel and Fred Warner and George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk's going to be due for a payday. Nick Bosa is going to be due for a payday. I just think that at a certain point, you have to really push all the chips in on what you know is one of, if not the most talented roster in the NFL from top to bottom right now. And I think we're just at the point where the biggest piece that's been missing to get them over the top has been an above-average quarterback and a quarterback that can stay healthy. And even at 46 years of age, I think Tom Brady checks both those boxes. And that's before getting into the storyline of him coming home and being the hometown kid playing for the team he grew up loving, and all the extra stuff that comes with that. I think just purely from an on-field standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jordan Elliott, 49ers reporter, Niners Nation, giving us some time here on the Cash In SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. And you sort of look at the way this whole season ended, and it's over. Look, I thought the Niners were going to win yesterday. Based on the limited data we had with Brock Purdy in the game, did you think, you have the turnovers late in the first half, which were obviously costing. I mean, that was a 7-7 game late in the second quarter. with the Niners very much in it before some late turnovers in that first half. And the Eagles, give them all the credit in the world, they capitalized on it. Do you think if Purdy plays all 4 quarters of that game, the Niners win? Because I've talked to a lot of people today who seem to be of varying minds about it and thought even if Purdy played, the sample we had in that, first quarter of the game kind of gave some people the feeling that the Eagles were actually the better team.
I think at the very least there would have been some closure, and I think that's the most difficult part. I personally think that the 49ers had a great game plan to slow down that Eagles offense, and it may not have been reflected in the final score, but as you mentioned, there was the fumble just before halftime that gave them a short field. They had that drive extended by a questionable roughing the punter penalty where Jordan Mason was blocked. He was pushed from behind into the punter by an Eagles lineman. The biggest thing that I took away from this was that it felt like the 49ers defense had that great game plan, but it was kind of, exercised in futility because they knew that offense wasn't going to be able to move the ball, particularly once Johnson went down and they literally did not have an able-bodied quarterback that was able to throw the ball downfield. The number I keep coming back to is the 49ers defense held the Eagles to 3.8 yards per play, which is well below their season average and well below the explosive ceiling that they've demonstrated all year, which led to them being the number 1 seed in the NFC. So I think that the Niners had a chance to pull out a close game. I think they had a great game plan, and I think that Brock Purdy showed that he was a guy that was able to distribute the ball to these, this all-star cast the 49ers have at the skill position. But even if they were to have lost with Brock Purdy, I think the most deflating thing is just not getting that closure and forever wondering what if and what could have been, and unfortunately we'll never get the answer to that.
Coaches though, and coaches are always looking for something to motivate guys, because people get complacent, people sometimes can, you hear hangovers, conference championship game hangovers, Super Bowl hangovers, whatever it may be. If you're Kyle Shanahan, there is no shortage of motivators that you come into next season with coming out of a game like this. I mean, it is not going to be difficult to motivate this 49er team for next season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that's got to be so tough is that so many of these guys that are the core foundational pieces of this team have come so close to, cresting that mountaintop and hoisting a Lombardi trophy. They obviously lost that heartbreaking game in Miami in 2019 when they actually made the Super Bowl, and then coming a game short each of the last 2 seasons. I think that hunger will always be there for these guys, but I think it's a firm reminder of just how difficult it is to win in this league. Because when you look at this Niners roster on paper, they're just so loaded at so many key positions, and they have so much blue chip talent. Guys that are going to be in Canton one day, guys that are going to be, filling all pro teams and Pro Bowls for years to come. And it really just, some things you can't predict. And I think the fact that we got to the point that they had, their 4th quarterback of the year out there, and then Josh Johnson unfortunately ends up getting hurt too, and you literally don't have an able-bodied quarterback. You're having Christian McCaffrey have to switch helmets to get a headset in his. I think it's just one of those situations where these guys know how talented they are, and you're absolutely right. I don't think they'll need the motivation, but I do wonder how much of a toll it's taking getting this close year after year and coming up just short.
Let me ask you something. How close was Jimmy Garoppolo?
So I had heard that he was getting scheduled back to be able to participate in practice, and that the x-rays were trending in the right direction. So I'm of the belief that had they been able to win that game in Philadelphia, it was trending towards him being able to potentially be available for the Super Bowl, which obviously would have been 2 weeks out. And so that's why even with Josh Johnson in there was kind of that glimmer of hope where if they could maybe steal this game and find a way to win, you turn it over to Jimmy G, and then it would just kind of complete this fiasco roller coaster season we've seen with all these twists and turns. But unfortunately, it didn't end up working out that way.
Last one. I got about 45 seconds. Where's this team go in the draft? I think they got 11 picks in this year's draft. Where do you see them trying to improve upon a team that's already this good? I got 30 seconds. Go.
Absolutely. I would say safety right away. They need to add some more youth into the back end of that secondary, and you can always count on John Lynch in this front office identifying and targeting some talented edge rushers. So those would be the 2 positions I'd keep an eye on the most, and then probably an offensive lineman somewhere in there as well.
Jordan, outstanding work. Thank you for coming on, especially on short notice. Really enjoyed it. Let's do this again, particularly during the offseason as this quarterback situation plays out.
Absolutely. Anytime. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great stuff with Jordan Elliott tonight. 49ers reporter over at Niners Nation. That's part of the SB Nation family as well. We're back with more on the other side. Hour one of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Thanks. Good to have you with us tonight. Thanks again to Jordan Elliott for stopping by. Niners Nation. What do you say, Brian McDonald, producer, engineer extraordinaire? That Jordan Elliott was good. Guy knows his stuff. Looked at his picture. He looks like he's 12 years old. I love it. I love all these. Yeah, see, because to me, this industry, and I speak from experience being a retread, this industry is just full of retreads, and it drives me nuts. It is. It's just full. It is full of retreads. Oh yeah. Yep. It's just recycled. It's so incestuous, and everybody's recycled. That when I find new people to talk to, I'm excited. It's like it's like The Last of Us, which I'm actually going to talk about later in the show. It's like The Last of Us when you're the character in last night's episode who finally comes across like a living human being that's not infected after years of wandering around the earth with nobody to talk to. And you're like, oh, wow, this is refreshing. Another human to talk to. That's how I felt tonight talking to Jordan Elliott. It was like this new, refreshing voice. He was great. Not to say I don't love the people that we have on, because I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them on. No, I don't. I would just sit here and talk to myself, though. I don't need. I have always said there are some shows that literally book guests up the wazoo. And put guest after guest after guest on because they don't do the prep work and they don't want to sit there and feel like they're talking to themselves, or that sort of thing. That's just not me. That's not what I do. I like to talk to myself. I'm abnormal that way. I like it that way. But you know how it is. By the way, is Dave on hold still? Okay. I didn't know because I know Dave was on hold, but because he messages me on Facebook and says he's on hold. So I knew he was on hold. Why was that? There is no odds on next year for the Niners starting quarterback, is there? It can't be. That somebody has odds on the Niners? No, yes, there is, and I hated it. Of all the things, I did this major cram. So Saturday night, late at like 1:00 in the morning, I watched the 30-man men's Royal Rumble match, and then it was 2 a.m. and I was like, I've got to get to bed, or my Sunday's going to be a bleep show. So I wound up not watching any more of it, and then tonight before the show, I watched the rest of the Royal Rumble. Somewhat predictable, though. Let's be honest. I mean, everything. There's its little flash and moments and everything, but at the end of the day, what you thought was going to happen pretty much happened. There wasn't any huge aha moment. It didn't really happen. I don't want it to be completely predictable, though. I want something that I want them, because they're the guys running it, to be smarter than me and come up with something that makes me go, aha! What do you? Wow. You really have missed me, haven't you? Anywho, Trey Lance is given minus 120 odds. This is crazy. So there is a site that has this. I got to know which site this is. What site is it? Odds Checker. Okay, which is in the UK, I guess. So Trey Lance is being given minus 120 odds to be the 49ers starter in 2023. That's the best odds you're going to get. I'm saying if you're Trey Lance, that means he is the odds-on favorite. 54.5% chance to be the 49ers starter in 2023. Brock Purdy is plus 260, which is 27.8% chance to win the job. The books are not counting out Jimmy G, who is plus 290. We keep talking about the free agency carousel in the NFL for quarterbacks this year. We keep forgetting about Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a free agent in this offseason. And, again, you talk about the Jets. If you can't get Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G sounds like a really interesting choice. And if Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay via trade. Jimmy G could be somebody that you slide into a situation in Green Bay if you're not going to take a look at Jordan Love, which you would think they would. I mean, yeah, it's true. Indianapolis. I mean, the Commanders. Yeah, see, you didn't even say the R word. Good job by you. There's also an outsider chance the 49ers week 1 starter isn't on the roster right now. The books are offering plus 700 odds that the 49ers bring in a new QB to start in 2023. One of those options is Tom Brady. If Brady doesn't retire at the end of the season, blah, 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 blah. 49ers are being given a plus 300 odds or an implied 25% chance to sign him. That's second on the market only to the Buccaneers. The reason the Buccaneers are so high on that list is probably because Rob Gronkowski came out and said that if he's going anywhere, it's not Las Vegas, it's back to Tampa Bay, which to me is nuts because I don't see that team being able to make the quantum leap it needs to make from a talent disparity standpoint that puts them in a position to win a Super Bowl next year with Tom Brady. No. You misunderstood me. I'm not saying Gronk is going back to Tampa Bay. I'm saying Gronk said. I'm saying what? No, it's okay. I might have said it fast, and I know I was going to say something that was going to get me in so much trouble that I would have been off the air tomorrow. I was not going to say something about the South. I love the South. Stop that. I love the South. I was going to say, I love our Texas audience. Are you kidding? I was about to say that what Rob Gronkowski was referring to was he didn't think Tom Brady was going to Vegas. He thought the only place that Tom Brady was going to go was back to Tampa Bay, which is just nuts to me. But you got to think he talks to him. So, he might be putting it out there. Jimmy G to the Patriots. That'd be an interesting spot for him. Have they really already made the decision after 2 years that Mac Jones isn't the guy? How about get a real offensive coordinator and don't have Matt Patricia calling your plays? And then let's figure out if, coaching matters. Having a coherent offensive battle plan with a real offensive coordinator, that matters. I don't know how they could suddenly decide Mac Jones after his, rookie year in the league, which was fantastic. Yeah. And Ajita. Yeah. Smartest guy in the room syndrome. Bill Belichick. I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm going to watch me. I'm going to prove you all wrong. I'm going to put a defensive coordinator in as my offensive coordinator. And oh God, you were terrible offensively. The only team you could beat was the Jets, and that's because they were the only team worse offensively than you were. 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Bobby Hull passed away today. One of the all-time greats in NHL history. We'll remember him and go through a whole bunch of NHL stuff. We're about a month or so from the trade deadline, but there's already some activity on that front. And the Bruins facing their first little bit of adversity. Dennis Bernstein will join us coming up 35 minutes from now. We'll do some NHL with him. And you may not have heard it in the last segment of the show, but I dropped a little on you. Mike Golick on the show tomorrow night. I was trying to get him to. I was trying to get him for tonight, just in honor of your return, Brian McDonald. But yeah, well, Mike Golick will be on the show tomorrow. I like it. I like that idea. So he'll join us on the program tomorrow. I will say, you know what? Just real quick, back on the wrestling for a second. The Bray Wyatt stuff was pretty cool. With Uncle Howdy, right? Yeah. You didn't like Uncle Howdy? You didn't like the way that whole thing ended? All right. Okay. That's like 2 hours from now. If you're still here 2 hours from now, bless your heart. I don't even know if I'll be here 2 hours from now. On the other side, Kellen Moore bolts to the bolts. It's next on the Cash In SportsMap Radio. Numbskulls, nincompoops. Oh, we won't even be on in Dallas for that conversation. That game's just ending. Boo. Yeah. See? So I'm doing 2 segments with Golick tomorrow. We're taping it. Since Belmer bailed. What show is he doing? First Name? Is he doing First Name? Dennis Bernstein, 15 minutes from now. Love Dennis. Does great work. TheFourthPeriod.com. Do you play video games, Brian? Do you play The Last of Us? Well, we're going to talk about The Last of Us. I'm doing one topic. I am dedicating myself to one segment every night where we just don't even talk about sports. And that segment tonight will have to do with The Last of Us on HBO, which I have now watched the first 3 episodes of. Now, I did not play The Last of Us, but I have watched my husband play the game from start to finish. So I know the story. Yeah. Yes. He's played both and beaten both, and he's a nut about it. I've had to watch YouTube video after YouTube video in this house for the last 3 weeks since the launch of this show because he's got to know every stinking detail about The Last of Us. And I'm just like, come on, really? Oh, you didn't see episode 3? Come on. Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, no. But come on, you know better than that. And you know, if you've watched the first 2 episodes, they are deviating from the game a bit. Yes. Yes. Oh, so gross. The end of episode 2 with the kiss. Oh, my God. Oh my God. I was crawling out of my skin watching that thing kiss the woman. Oh, it was great. Hey, by the way, if you've watched The Last of Us, these are spoilers. So my bad. But yeah. No. But I'm I will warn there will be spoilers. But man, oh man, it was yeah, the first 3 episodes have been outstanding. Well, they're spending $1 zillion though on it. You know, I mean that's the reality. Well, because it's Paramount Plus. No, that's true. Yeah, ask Peter Angelos. For a number of years, he spent tons of money, and it didn't go very well. So anyway, we'll do that coming up about 30 minutes from now on the show. Dennis Bernstein on the NHL coming up in 12 minutes. We'll get some thoughts with him around the league and the passing of Bobby Hull, which I'll be interested to get some thoughts with him on that too. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Hit me up on Twitter as well, at The Back Page. Again, on Twitter, at The Back Page. NBA, it's fantastic. It just went final. Phoenix defeats Toronto, 114-106. Portland and Atlanta right now, 64-60. By the way, and I'm not going to go crazy with this because it is the Orlando Magic. But anytime I have a chance to say something positive about the Orlando Magic, I'm going to do it. They got off to a dreadful start. They're 20-31. They're actually not that far out of, the bottom of that playoff bubble. And every time you watch this Orlando Magic team, you've got a real glimpse into the idea. And look, you could look at them and the Rockets very similarly. They've been in the doldrums for a while. Both teams, tons of draft picks. Orlando's starting to turn it in the right direction. And there's still a couple of players away, and they're going to have to get some free agents that are willing to go and sign and play there. And it is Florida, so there's no state income tax, so that always makes it appealing. But if the choice is going to Florida and playing for the Magic or playing for the Heat, which one are you taking? South Beach or Goofy? You're probably taking South Beach instead of Goofy, unless you got kids and they want to live at Disney World. But the Magic beat the 76ers tonight in Philadelphia, 119-109. And we're not talking about a night where the 76ers had their starters. Embiid played, Harden played. They all played. And Orlando went into Philadelphia tonight and beat the Magic. I mean, that's impressive. And they've beaten the Celtics a bunch of times this year, too. At least twice that I know of, they've beaten the Celtics. So keep an eye on Orlando. I mean, they're not winning any championships or anything like that. And I know, why are you talking about them if they don't have a chance to win a championship? They're 5 games out of the 10th spot right now. They're 20-31, but playing much better basketball and definitely going in the right direction. So the game going on right now, there's only one left. Atlanta and Portland. Blazers lead the Hawks 64-60. Early in the third quarter. Let me see. What's Damian Lillard doing in that game? He's got 22 early in the third. So he's probably not going for 60 tonight, but still having himself a pretty good night. I wonder if anybody had any big numbers tonight. Sacramento won in Minnesota. Golden State won. And look at the Warriors. I keep telling you, the Warriors are going to be a top 5 team in the West. By the time everything is said and done, seeding-wise, they're going to be in the top 5. Warriors beat the Thunder tonight. A much improved Thunder team, 128-120. The chef was cooking. He had 38. Stephen Curry had 38. Klay Thompson had 28. And Andrew Wiggins had 15. Wow. Out of their starters tonight, they got almost 100. Out of their starters tonight, they got 104 or 105 points. It's going to be hard to lose games when you get that much out of your starters. So that's a good win for the Warriors tonight. So on the live betting side right now, because we are all about giving you guys live betting winners, I don't think I've given you any in a couple of days. Not because we've been giving losers, but we haven't given any picks. The Blazers right now lead the Hawks 64-60, 11-18 to go third quarter. Atlanta is plus 7.5. on the live betting line, plus 320 on the money line, and 236.5 is the live total right now in that game. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm not ready to give you any picks there. Lakers and Knicks tomorrow night, by the way, in New York. Is that game on? Oh, that's got to be the TNT game. Yeah, it's the TNT game. We'll watch that tomorrow night. That should be fun. I got a busy day tomorrow. I got to go get x-rays tomorrow. I got to get my right shoulder x-rayed, my right wrist x-rayed, and my left knee x-rayed. These are getting old and fat injuries. Well, the right shoulder, I played baseball for a number of years and never really took care of my arm. And then, you haven't played baseball in 10 years and you try and go and play in like a charity pickup game and you throw the ball as hard as you can and it's been hurt for a number of years. My rotator cuff is shot in my right arm. Luckily, it doesn't impact my bowling because you're throwing, underhanded. So I've got an injury to my right shoulder that's got to be diagnosed. My left knee, I've got a partially torn meniscus. Who knows what it is now, though. The left knee is going to have to be replaced at some point. I mean, I'm only 45, so they won't. When I even mention the idea, they just go, ha, 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 they point at you. And then my right wrist is a repetitive use sort of thing. Oh, God, that didn't sound right, did it? Nope, not at all. Nope. We just blow this segment up. The right wrist is it's a repetitive use from bowling and, constantly being used for like computing and my phone and all that. And yeah, so it's definitely, I don't think it's anything that's going to require surgery, but we'll see. The doctor I went to was like, who sent me for the x-rays is like, I'm going to sign off on these x-rays, but they're probably going to just want you to do a bunch of physical therapy. And I'm just going to be like, ugh. Yeah, it does. Because they do it just so they don't, they do it just so the medical industry sucks. They do it just because they don't want it. What I really need are MRIs, which will get inside and really find out what's wrong. These places, all these insurance companies are like, we'd rather send you to a month of physical therapy and then make you get an MRI if it doesn't fix anything. And that's what's going to wind up happening. I'll do a month of physical therapy. Nothing will work. Or 2 months of physical therapy. I'll still be broken. And then they'll send me for MRIs and figure out how badly my knee is screwed up and my shoulder is screwed up and my wrist and all that. So it's going to be a lost year. It's not going to be the summer of George. It's gonna be a lost year. Seinfeld was just out here in Palm Springs. He just performed at one of the casinos out here. Love Seinfeld. I've never seen him in person. Yes. You know who else is out here tomorrow night? I would just assume, have you stick ice picks in my what. But Harry Styles is out here for the next 2 nights. Does nothing for me. Does absolutely nothing for me. Nope. But all his fans are out here, which is what makes it even worse. It's like, get out of my city. Bunch of teeny boppers running around looking to listen to Harry Styles. Dennis Bernstein joins us next. It really is. I use the other hand for that.
JP.
Dennis Bernstein. How are you, sir?
Doing great, pal. How are you?
Good. How's life?
Never better.
I have asked you this before. Where are you based?
I'm in Los Angeles.
You are in L.A. I thought you were in L.A. Yeah. Okay. You ever get to Palm Springs?
Rarely, but if I do, we're sitting down and having a meal and a drink.
Oh, dude, I'd take you out in a heartbeat. There's a ton of play. It's only an hour and 45 minutes. It's not a long drive, man. Get your ass out here. Go. And now you have an excuse. You can go see the Kraken's AHL team.
That's not much of an excuse.
Oh,
Jay.
come on, man. Do better than that.
No, I don't even go to the Ontario Reign games. I get my ass busted about that all the time here.
That's crazy. Get out of your bubble over there.
No, it's a comfortable bubble. It's so comfortable.
We're coming back. Hold on.
Okay, thanks.
Just giving our next guest some grief because he's based in L.A. And I'm like, dude, you're in L.A. You're like an hour and 45 minutes from me in Palm Springs. Come out and visit. It's Palm Springs. Everybody's coming to Palm Springs. Except our guest, Dennis Bernstein, who joins us on the show tonight. Does a great job over at thefourthperiod.com. Also, Sirius XM's NHL Radio. And Dennis joins us on the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. So what? So I got to bribe you? What kind of a bribe is it going to take to get you out here?
Jay, I always love talking to you. Jay, it's an hour and 45 minutes at midnight. Like in the middle of the night, it's an hour and 45 to get to Palm Springs from LA. The middle of the day, no way, an hour and 45. So I get busted all the time here because Kings fans in LA always have given me grief for not going to Ontario Reign games. But I'm an NHL guy, I'm an AHL guy, so if I can't go there. But if I do make it to Palm Springs, you and I absolutely will sit down. We'll have a great time, a meal, a drink, and catch up.
All right. I mean, I do come out your way quite a bit, but I mean, I don't know how busy you are. I go out to Roland.
No, I make time for you, Joe.
I go out to Roland Heights quite a bit, and because my husband needs the Asian culture because he's from Singapore, so we go out and get our Asian culture out there because there's very little of it here in Palm Springs. There's just lots of palm trees and sand. So Dennis Bernstein is our guest tonight on the show, and I want to get him on for a couple of reasons. First of all, I wanted somebody that could lend some perspective. Not that you're as old as Bobby Hull was, but you obviously know a tremendous amount. You're a historian of the game, passing away at the age of 84. The Golden Jet. Go.
Yeah, well, he was that generation's, and I'm old enough to have seen him play. He was the 60s and 70s Alexander Ovechkin. Because he led the league in goal scoring. I think 7 seasons, he led the league in scoring. 3 years, he won a Hart Trophy, which is the MVP. And the thing that's lost on Brett, on Bobby for a little bit, and Brett was his son, is that Bobby played 16 years in the NHL, which is a long time. But he played 7 years in the WHA. He played 23 seasons, Jay, and he scored over 900 goals. I'm not exaggerating. He scored over 600 in the NHL and a little bit 300 in WHA, playing for the Whalers and the old Winnipeg Jets. So this guy was a.
Did he play with Gordy? Did he play with Gordy in Hartford?
I don't think he did, Jay. I'd have to look it up and see. But 23 seasons, 900 goals, and this is a guy with a devastating slap shot. When there was no technology, when there wasn't all that flex on a stick, it was a wooden stick. And him and Stan McKee are the first guys to really put a curve on a stick. That's how far back we go in history because he played in the mid-'60s. So this was a premier goal scorer for the Chicago Blackhawks. And like I said, in one season, he averaged, I think, 414 shots in 74 games. That's 5.5 shots a game. That's the average. That's an average night for Bobby Hull was almost 6 shots a game. So this was a premier goal scorer. And again, I would make the comparison in that era. He's the Alexander Ovechkin of the 60s and early 70s.
Wow, that's remarkable. Talking with Dennis Bernstein, thefourthperiod.com, Sirius XM, NHL Radio, giving us some time here on the Cash In on SportsMap Radio on the passing of Bobby Hull. We're about, 6 weeks out, 5.5 weeks out from the NHL trade deadline. There's a lot of talk that this is going to be a more active deadline than usual. The Islanders made a move. They needed offense. They go and add some in Bo Horvat. Talk a little bit about this move.
A necessary move for the Islanders. If you look at their last 7 games, and they haven't played good in the stretch, they haven't scored more than 2 goals in their last 7 games. They've won some games because they're getting great goaltending from Ilya Sorokin, who, if not for Linus Ullmark going crazy in Boston, he'd win the Vezina. He'll be a Vezina. Fonz has been great in goal. They don't give up a lot on defense, but their offense has just been woeful. It's been tough to watch, and that was the thing about this team. And Lou Lamoriello stood pat in the summertime, Jay. It was, okay, I believe in this team. I think this is the team that, like a couple of seasons ago, went to a conference final, lost in Game 7 to Tampa. He believed that the core of that team could get to the same heights that team did, and they clearly can't. They're on the outside looking in right now. It's going to be tough for this team. They're not good offensively, but Horvat will certainly add to the offense. Now, as a center, and they already have Barzal and Brock Middleton in the middle, I assume that maybe Barzal moves to the wing. You put Bo Horvat in the middle. So this is a really nice day for a team that has struggled mightily offensively. And Lou's under the gun. He doesn't have a contract after this season. If they don't make the playoffs, I can't see him coming back. And even if they do make the playoffs, Jay, I think still a toss-up. Lou Lamoriello is going to be the GM next season on Long Island. So it was a necessary move to get this team a little bit more offense as they try to get back to the postseason, something they didn't do last season.
Yeah, there aren't many teams in the East that have scored less than the Islanders have this year, and it just goes to show you, because when you look at the standings and where they are in the standings, they're only 3 points behind the Capitals for fourth in the Metropolitan. I mean, they could still make a run here in the second half.
Yeah, they can, and that's the team I would target, because if you look at them, they're only, 2 points behind Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh has 3 games in hand. If they win 2 out of 3, then you're talking about a 5-point margin. The thing with the Capitals, Tom Wilson's hurt again. He's been out. Backstrom just came back, scored his first goal, but they're taking on water, the Caps. They're 4-6 in their last 10. That will be the team. It's not only the Islanders. That's the challenge, Jay. It's not just the Islanders going. It's not 9 teams for 8 spots. It's 11 teams, because Florida's bounced back. Buffalo has been great offensively. They don't play much defense, and the goaltending is a little shaky, but they're on a little bit of a roll. So I think the team that, if you look at the top 8 in East right now, the one team I would select to fall out would be the Capitals, and that's incumbent upon the Islanders to catch them, but also Buffalo and Florida. So the one thing about the East, Jay, this season is supposed to last. At Christmas of last season, we knew the top 8 teams in the East, and that was it, and they were just playing for a playoff position. Now we actually have a playoff race. Now it's only at the top, like in the Metro, where there's the Devils trail the Hurricanes by 4, but at the bottom of the conference, where you have the Capitals and Penguins in playoff position right now, but the Sabres, Islanders, and Panthers right on their tail.
So much fun watching the Devils and what that team is doing right now too. Talking with our friend Dennis Bernstein, the fourthperiod.com, Sirius XM. The Bruins have lost 3 straight. First little bit of adversity this team has faced this year. What stands out to you in this 3-game losing streak?
Keep hope alive, everybody in the East. They actually lose games in Boston. Here's the thing, Jay. Okay, if you looked at the beginning of the season before this amazing run, and I kind of equivocated to what the Detroit Tigers did in 1984 when they were 35-5 to start the season. When you looked at the schedule in October on opening night, and you saw 3 games in 4 nights, Boston in Florida, in Tampa, and Carolina, you'd say, okay, maybe they win one of those games. Well, guess what? They only got a regulation overtime loss in one of those games. So 1 point in 6. They have a clear-cut lead over the Maple Leafs and Tampa Bay. They're up by double digits. If they were ever going to hit a valley, that would have been the valley. Now, Florida was desperate, but Tampa, that was a statement game for Tampa. Tampa lost the first 2 games of the season series to Boston. They didn't want to lose a 3rd game. So and Carolina is kind of a mirror image of Boston. They don't give up much. They're not as good offensively, but defensively, they're kind of a mirror image at this point. So I'm not shocked that the Bruins actually lost these games, because when you look at it, they have to have a valley at some point, Jay. They're not going to be a 136-point team. They're playing a little bit under wraps, and now the challenge for Jim Montgomery in Boston right now is, in the remaining 32 games, how much do you play these older players, like Bergeron, who's 37, like David Krejci, who's 36 years old? And that's the key to this team. David Krejci, when he came back from the Czech Republic, once Bruce Cassidy left, made them an entirely different and more dangerous team. They're deeper. They're getting great goaltending from Linus Ullmark, and their defense is solid.
I always joke about the fact that I live in Palm Springs and we have a AHL team out here now, and it's the Seattle Kraken, and they're the best team in the AHL right now by record. And the NHL team's pretty good too. You look at what they're doing out in the Pacific Division, leading the way with 63 points. Yet when I look at Vegas and I look at the odds, they're still way down the list as a potential Stanley Cup contender. Why aren't they necessarily taken for real?
Well, see, because you don't know what they are in the postseason, Jay. I could tell you that the Edmonton Oilers is going to lean on Connor McDavid. Boston's going to play their depth. Colorado, if they're ever healthy, is going to lean on Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. I can't say that for Seattle. And now Matty Beniers is missing the All-Star game. He's been their great rookie, probably wins the Rookie of the Year. You just don't know, Jay. Is this style of play transferable to the postseason, and a team that has zero postseason experience with goaltenders and Martin Jones and Philip Grubauer that have been gone deep in playoff runs, both have been to the finals, haven't won. So you just don't know. I think it's just the unfamiliarity of this team, and people are still waiting for them to drop, Jay. But when you're 16-5-2 on the road, like that's incredible. That's for this team. It's great. They're 500 at home. They're 13-10-3. So I think why they don't get enough love from the odds makers is that we're in uncharted waters at this point for Seattle. Right? I mean, nobody expects them to be here, and now they're looking to be in the playoffs. Yeah. I don't know what they'll be in the playoffs.
Vegas, by the way, at least FanDuel's sportsbook, has the Stanley Cup matchup favorites, and the one that's got the lowest odds or the highest odds or the best chance of happening is Bruins Avalanche. Dennis Bernstein, always appreciate the time, my friend. We'll do it again soon.
Always great being with JP. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
We'll come back, wrap up the hour next. Thanks, Dennis. Good to have you with us. SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. I'm going to dedicate one segment a night to something that isn't sports. Because you know what? It's a 3-hour show. We got all night to talk about sports, but nobody lives their lives in a bubble. And nobody, goes through their entire life just following sports. You all follow something else. You have something else that interests you. Whether it's music, entertainment, politics, whatever it is. And I don't live my life in a bubble of just sports. If anybody follows me on social media, you'll realize that. So I want to dedicate one segment every night to talk about something that has nothing to do with sports. But something that has to do with something that I think our audience and our demographic will be into. I don't play The Last of Us, but my significant other does. Can I tell you what part of the problem is? This is just so you're gonna laugh. I get nauseous playing these first-person games. Not first person, but I get the movement of the screen. Yes, I get nauseous sometimes playing these games. Like I actually get motion sickness. See? Yeah. Well, I thought it was just being around you that gave her sickness. But but I get nauseous even just watching, sitting on the couch watching my husband play it. So I just so I watch, but even though I have not played The Last of Us, and I have not seen the second one at all, by the way. I've only seen the first one. No, I have not seen the second game. Yeah. No. I mean, I know the gist of some of it because my husband's told me but he's already played them both. So I've now, so I know the first game, which is all I need to know for the first season of the show, obviously, because the first season's just going to mirror it. Right. But much like, yes, they have. There's going to be a third. I think my husband said they've confirmed there's going to be a third. But there is. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, see, here it is. According to them, The Last of Us 3 is in production in Neil Druckmann's next game. It will still take a while before we finally see the game, blah, 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 blah. But then again, it says 4 days ago, Last of Us Part 3 might not happen, says Naughty Dogs, Neil. Yeah, so who knows? Oh, my God, it took forever. But much like The Walking Dead, for people who read The Walking Dead comics, there is deviation from, the TV show to the video game in this case, or in the case of The Walking Dead, from the TV show to the comic. And in trying to tell this story, and I think it's 10 episodes in the first season. Yeah, something like that. I've just watched the first 3 episodes. We just watched the third one last night. It is so good. And warning, there might be spoilers in here. So if you've seen it or haven't seen it and don't want any spoilers, you can turn off your radio for the next 6 minutes and come back and join us at the top of the hour when we're not talking about it. But the episode last night, and again, I opening up here a little bit as somebody who's openly gay, the episode last night with Nick Offerman playing the character of Bill, and literally the entire episode was about Bill and his partner Frank, who he meets in the middle of this, end times world that they're living in. And what's craziest is, what was trending after the show last night on Twitter? Wasn't anything about what was trending on Twitter last night and today was Linda Ronstadt. Because in the episode last night, there's a Linda Ronstadt song that plays throughout various parts of the show. So everybody... Yes. So all of a sudden people were like, oh my God, what's this amazing song? And people are like, you idiots. It's just one of the greatest singers of all time. And then Linda Ronstadt. But the episode was really good. I mean, very powerful episode. And the first 3 episodes so far have been nothing short of fantastic. I mean, they have spent more on this show than they spent on Game of Thrones. So that's all you need to know in terms of how much money. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Clickers. Clickers, baby. All about the clickers. Sorry. Yeah, they really did a bang up job with it. Yeah, no, they missed no detail. And like I said, the scene at the end of episode 2 where, and again, the way they killed her was different than the video game and how they killed her, where she basically just, got shot and killed and sacrificed herself for, what's Pedro Pascal's character's name? Joel. Yeah. Joel and Ellie. This time they had her just stand there. She just watches this thing come up and kiss her. It was so good. But yeah, so I'm a Walking Dead guy, and I'm getting ready to actually go back and watch Walking Dead from the very beginning again. Because I think so. I think the whole thing is. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to go back and do that from the beginning. And obviously The Walking Dead wasn't an inexpensive show to do, but the beauty of The Walking Dead is so much of it was done in rural areas as opposed to cities that it didn't, it probably from a budget standpoint, is tiny compared to, yes. But that's also what's going to make The Walking Dead spinoffs that are coming way more interesting to see, is because one of them's in New York. So, I mean, that's not cheap doing that sort of thing and seeing what the zombie apocalypse looked like in New York. See, here's the thing. I went and I played the first Telltale one. And I only played the first one, and I never went and played the second or the third. No, not because the ending wrecked me. It didn't wreck me, but I did go. It was sad, and it's one of the only video games I've played probably since The Legend of Zelda, like the original NES Legend of Zelda. That Walking Dead Telltale game. The Legend of Zelda, the Walking Dead, the first one that they came out with Telltale, was the first video game that I literally stayed up, and in the middle of the night my husband would come out and be like, "Are you coming to bed?" And I'd be like, "Nope." Just literally staying up until my eyes are closing. Yeah, no, it really was. But I didn't go play the second or third. What I did buy though was I bought the Meta Quest, the VR headset, and the sole purpose I went out and spent like $300 on this VR headset, the Meta, was for The Walking Dead. I wanted to be in the zombie apocalypse. Oh my God, my chance to live what it's like to be in the zombie apocalypse. And then I never bought the game. I don't know. I spent $300 on this stupid thing, and then I was broke, so I couldn't buy the game. Literally. If you look on the screen of the show, if you look really close, Yeah, if you look really close next to the PS5, you could see my Meta Quest sitting there. Yes, you could see my $300 paperweight that I never play. Once in a while, I get on it and go like on a roller coaster ride with it or something. Yeah. Oh, man. Are we through 2 hours already? What the hell? What's going on here? Another hour of the cash-in is right around the corner. I'm Jason Page. Good to have you with us tonight on a Monday on SportsMap Radio. Stay tuned. Yeah. Just that it's done through her eyes, not that she's the playable character. I don't know a ton. Like see. No, so don't tell me. Don't tell me. No. Yeah. Hey, babe. Apparently, Brian McDonald and you would get along really well. He's as much of a nut about The Last of Us as you are. My husband just said, tell him not to tell you about the second season. The second part 2. Yeah, you can't. Don't. Yeah, no spoilers. See? But yeah, he loves it. I never watched you play season 2, did I? No. See, you got to go and replay that. Or I'll just go play it.
I didn't bring it. The game is
You didn't bring season 2?
Yeah, it's.
Are you shitting me?
I'll get it when I go back.
How did you not bring that? It's a video game. It takes no space in your luggage. Oh, you're the worst. He didn't bring season 2 with him. He didn't bring part 2 with him. He left it in Singapore. He's been sitting here playing part 1, but he didn't bring part 2. Yes, he's beaten it already. Yeah. I mean, it's not a very difficult game to beat. Oh, yeah, no, he played it. He can't hear you anyway. We don't have any studio monitors or anything in here. Yeah, he's been playing a game called Yakuza right now. Which Yakuza are you playing? What is it? Like a dragon? Like a dragon? Yeah, he's playing that right now. He's almost done with it. Yeah. He's got a couple of games that are still in the plastic that he hasn't even played. He loves the Assassin's Creed games. Oh, that's Brian's favorite ever. See, you two get along better than he and I do. There you go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard. The game I play on PS5 is stupid. I play Fall Guy. Yeah, it's like one of those free games that you can play. It's like for kids. It's fun. I play that. I played the Golf 2K22, the last one before this one. I forget. I don't remember. I don't think it was Rory. So it might have been the one even before that. I played a little bit of 2K Baseball, like a couple of years ago version. I had that. What else? I downloaded Qbert. I played PS5, yeah. Yes, the show. Who is it? Aaron Judge? Oh, that's why I saw him everywhere. Okay, that's why he was trending. That's an odd choice. Yeah. Yeah. Final hour of a Monday/Tuesday edition of the show. Good to have you with us. Good to have our Dallas audience with us, too. 97.1, The Freak. You guys are so spoiled. You have no idea how good you have at getting to watch Luka Doncic on a 3 or 4 night a week basis. My God. It's good to have you all with us. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to tweet at the show? Go ahead. Bring it on. At the back page. Again, on Twitter, at the back page. And if you're not following me on TikTok, the time is now. The place is here. The Jason Page on TikTok. The Jason Page. THE Jason Page. If you're not following me over on TikTok. Later in this hour, we'll be joined by Jordan Elliott. He's our 2-for-1 tonight, talking with him about the 49ers quarterback situation and where this team goes. As compelling as the 49ers are to me, if they had won and were going to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, I think they are as equally a compelling story in this offseason because they've got any number of guys that could wind up being their starting quarterback next year. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 guys that could wind up being the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, which is so weird of a team that is literally on the precipice, or certainly in that window, that championship window, that Super Bowl window. It's remarkable. Engineer, producer extraordinaire Brian McDonald is back tonight. He hasn't been on the show in like a month. They finally, what the hell? They finally gave me back my Brian McDonald at least a couple of nights a week. So I got Brian tonight and Wednesday on the show. It's not to say I don't like the other people I work with, but you know, Brian is Brian. Guys like him and John Belmer, they don't just fall out of trees. Well, they might fall out of trees. They don't grow on trees is what I meant to say. They might fall out of trees. Yeah, so it's good to have Brian back with us tonight working on the show. And in his honor, and in honor of his return tonight, the final segment of the show tonight, we will dedicate to his favorite thing outside of playing PS5 in his basement, and that is WWE. Royal Rumble was last night. We'll talk about that in the final segment of the show tonight. It feels like, I got to be honest, it feels to me like it is too early to really try and break down this matchup in the Super Bowl. We've got 2 weeks to break down the matchup of the Super Bowl. So for me, it's just, I can't. I'm not going to sit here and get into, because by the time we get to next Friday, and I don't mean this Friday coming up, I mean the Friday after that one, I'm just going to be tired of it. So I'm not going to sit here and go crazy getting into the, every in and out of the Super Bowl. We will talk about it. I'll give you some of the information. In fact, the latest gambling odds on it, because we haven't talked about all that much in terms of the sports betting angle on it, is Kansas City plus 1.5 right now, plus 108 on the money line to Kansas City, minus 126 to the Eagles, and 49.5 is the total on it. The early betting money, you ready? According to FanDuel Sportsbook, Brian McDonald, percentage of money on the game, how much do you think is going and to which team? Like, who do you think is getting the most money bet on them so far? No, I know. I wanted you to say the right answer and show me you had a clue. I mean, you work on the show. I want smart people around me. Got 2 weeks, dude. I got 2 weeks till I need that pick. 81%. 81% of the money being wagered so far, 81% of the money being wagered so far is on Philadelphia. 74% of the bets on the game are on Philadelphia. So there you go. If you don't know, now you know. Interesting side wagers that are already out there as well. Any touchdown scorer, Travis Kelce minus 125 is one of them. Miles Sanders is plus 120. Jalen Hurts is plus 105, and that means running the ball, not throwing it. A.J. Brown plus 125. Kadarius Toney, former New York Giant, is plus 170. Isaiah Pacheco is plus 115. So those are some of the any touchdown scorer numbers. Patrick Mahomes, plus 500. I kind of like that bet. Get him on a little bootleg. Trick play down in the red zone with him, catching a ball. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I think in 2 weeks, I think that ankle will come a long way in 2 weeks. Wow. How about guess the correct score? Wow, some of the wagers on this are crazy. 16-13. But like if you guess, here's the thing about it. If you guess the correct score, the odds are so astronomical. Like if you put let me give you an example. If you put $100, and this is the smallest odds, by the way. If you put $100 on the Chiefs to beat the Eagles 13-10, I mean, the chances of the game being that low scoring are crazy. But if you put $100 on the Chiefs to beat the Eagles 13-10 and you win $18,000. It's crazy. Do you have a give me a score? What do you think the score will be? Now I'm going to make you give me one. All right, so if you say 23-17 Eagles, I'm going to put it into the thing here. And I'll be able to tell you exactly 23-17 Eagles, you say? Okay. Yeah, hold on. Here it is. Eagles 23. There. Ready? If the Eagles beat the Chiefs 23-17, you put $100 on it, it's plus 11,000. So so here's the deal. I will be in Glendale on Super Bowl Sunday, which means I could use the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So if you want me to make the bet, you can Venmo me $100. I will put it for you. And if the Eagles beat the Chiefs 23-17, which I don't think they're going to, so you just might as well give me your money. I'll kick you in the nuts and we'll call it a day. The Chiefs, if the Eagles beat the Chiefs 23-17, you would win $11,000. I'm not going to be like, damn, my damn phone wouldn't work. I don't understand how this could happen. All of a sudden, yeah. But, yeah, exactly. But, boy, I got to be honest, some of the higher scores, like, I think it has a chance to be a high-scoring game. And some of the higher scoring numbers are not, the odds on them are way higher than I thought they would be. Like, I could see, if anything, I like Chiefs 31-20 wouldn't shock me. That's a little high, though. I don't know if the Chiefs will score that many. How about Chiefs 27? How about Chiefs 27-21? That's plus 50. That 49.5. But 27-21 Chiefs would be $15,000 on a $100 wager. That's pretty wild. I mean, not for nothing. That'd be fun. That would be a lot of fun to do. I may have to throw 100 on just for the hell of it, you know, because that bet will be live for a while. It's not like, you know, if you put a bet in for, you know, 10-7, that bet is dead by like late second quarter. You have no chance to win. Yeah, but again, with 2-point conversions and everything, you can get it back on track. Teams chase points like crazy these days, so that's not too crazy. Wow, there's some crazy prop bets. There's so many prop bets. I mean, yeah. I think Travis Kelce's always good. Yeah, I think Travis Kelce's always good. I think Scantling is good. See, I think if it's going to be I think if either team is going to beat the other by a lot, it's going to be the Chiefs. Beating the Eagles by a lot, because I keep saying this. I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I think I can absolutely see a scenario where, not that he blows up and plays a terrible game and throws a ton of interceptions or anything like that, where he's just, I don't see him in terms of passing accuracy. I've watched him against the Giants now, and I've watched him against this week against the Niners. I just see him miss a lot of open guys. I really do. So I'm just not there. I'm not there. And I think the ankle will be far less of a concern 2 weeks from now. Put that dude in a hyperbaric chamber, Patrick Mahomes, and just let him heal up. Just let him heal up. All right, we got more to do on the other side. Coming up in 20 minutes, Jordan Elliott from Niners Nation. Get some thoughts with him on where the Niners go from here. But stick around. We got more to do in this hour of the Cash-In. I'm Jason Page. This is SportsMap Radio. Cool. I didn't realize how crazy the odds were on the final score, though. That's nuts. Oh, yeah, it's tough to pick a score. But if I had like here's the thing. If I had a grand just laying around and didn't care about my money, right? You take $100 and put it on 10 different final scores. You know, you put it close to where the total is in Vegas, and you got a shot. No. No, but even if you even if you took the lowest odds, actually, I just found it. The score that is most likely to come in is, according to the odds, is Chiefs 20, Eagles 17. That's plus 6,500. So if you lay 100, you'd win 6,500. That's the one that has the best odds of coming in so far. Followed by Chiefs 23, Eagles 20, which is 7,500. Chiefs 24, Eagles 17, plus 9,500. Chiefs 24, Eagles 21. Yeah, all of these are unders. You're right. It's absolutely right. The thing I screamed, I was 1-3 in Page's picks this weekend, but the one thing that I screamed about in Page's picks, literally from Monday of last week till the minute the game started, was the under in that Niners-Eagles game, and I was right about it. That was the one I told everybody, fucking liquidate all assets. Like, that was the one. Yeah, oh my God. Oy vey, man. Yeah, he's that situation has been better. Yeah. Well, I think that night Good to have you with us on a Monday edition of the show. Get back to the calls in a bit. If you're on hold, don't move. 800-224-2004. 800. The game's on Westwood One now. On the brain. Niners Nation does a terrific. When I was in Hartford, Connecticut, doing afternoon drive, Bristol is literally like 20 minutes from Hartford. So he was doing the national show and living up there. I was the MC. The March of Dimes has this, has this event every year in New Haven, Connecticut called Elm City Legends, where they invite a celebrity that like supports March of Dimes and stuff like that. And one year, he was the honoree for the March of Dimes Elm City Legends event. I was the MC that year. And so I've met him before and talked to him before, stuff like that. But it was so long ago. Who knows, if his... Good to have you with us on a Monday edition of the show. Get back to the calls in a bit. If you're on hold, don't move. 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Hit me up on Twitter at the back page. Also on TikTok, if you're looking for me there. The Jason Page. We're putting up great new content all the time. By the way, Mike Golick on the show tomorrow. Formerly of ESPN's Mike and Mike, does the games on Westwood One now, has a podcast as well. Mike Golick on the show tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. Matter of fact, he'll be on right in this slot. We call it our 2-for-1. It's where we put the best of the best. And tonight that includes Jordan Elliott, 49ers reporter over at Fansided, gives us, Niners Nation. Why did I say Fansided? I've Fansided on the brain. Niners Nation does a terrific job over there, gives us some time tonight on the program. Jordan, I find the 49ers, even in defeat as fascinating a story as they would have been in victory, namely because of what's going to happen at the quarterback position, where you literally could put about 6 names on a wheel and spin it, and one of them has a chance to be the quarterback of this team next season, given the way all of this ended. I thought anything short of a Super Bowl, you were going to have sort of an open quarterback question with this team. Am I wrong?
I think had Purdy not gotten injured, there was a decent chance that he would at least have the opportunity to be the guy to lose the job. I don't think that would have guaranteed he would have been the guy no matter what. But obviously with him now being sidelined for a, substantial amount of time with that UCL injury, I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be the QB carousel we've seen the last 2 years where any report and any kind of smoke with any name connected to the 49ers is going to generate a ton of buzz. And, for as talented as the team was, the offseason is going to be as lively as the actual regular season and postseason games we just finished.
It's so wild for a franchise that we think of as the window being now, and a team that was, a game short of the Super Bowl last year, a team that comes a game short of the Super Bowl this year. We all know how great of a head coach Kyle Shanahan is, even though I thought the team sort of botched this review early in the game yesterday. I know people could sit there and say all they want. Well, nobody had enough angles, and we didn't see it till the break. You could tell by the way the Eagles were rushing to the line that they knew that ball wasn't caught. But anyway, putting all that aside, because I think the quarterback situation there is fascinating. The names I'm looking at right now are everything from Trey Lance to Brock Purdy. Hell, I think even Jimmy G is probably a name that would have to be in the mix. Derek Carr, Tom Brady. I don't think the Packers would trade Aaron Rodgers within the conference, but if they did, hey, he's a Berkeley kid. I mean, is there any one name that sort of sticks out to you in all of those if we're just going to sit here and have some fun speculating?
Absolutely. The name that makes the most sense and truthfully has made the most sense for years to me is Tom Brady. And I think the announcement today with Brock Purdy being out for a substantial amount of time created an even greater chance of that occurring, because I think the 49ers are in a spot now where, Trey Lance is a guy that they obviously believed in. They moved the draft capital to go up and get him, but we don't really have a tangible sample size of him at the NFL level. And he's also recovering from an injury that sidelined him for the majority of this past season, and the timetable on that's a little unclear. And I think when you look at it, just as you mentioned, like this team is so built to win now, and windows in the NFL are so fleeting. And when you start looking at guys like Trent Williams, who's 34 years old, how much longer can he continue to play at the elite level that he's playing at? When you're looking at all these guys they've paid, Deebo Samuel and Fred Warner and George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk's going to be due for a payday. Nick Bosa is going to be due for a payday. I just think that at a certain point, you have to really push all the chips in on what you know is one of, if not the most talented roster in the NFL from top to bottom right now. And I think we're just at the point where the biggest piece that's been missing to get them over the top has been an above-average quarterback and a quarterback that can stay healthy. And even at 46 years of age, I think Tom Brady checks both those boxes. And that's before getting into the storyline of him coming home and being the hometown kid playing for the team he grew up loving, and all the extra stuff that comes with that. I think just purely from an on-field standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jordan Elliott, 49ers reporter, Niners Nation, giving us some time here on the Cash In SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. And you sort of look at the way this whole season ended, and it's over. Look, I thought the Niners were going to win yesterday. Based on the limited data we had with Brock Purdy in the game, did you think, you have the turnovers late in the first half, which were obviously cost. I mean, that was a 7-7 game late in the second quarter. With the Niners very much in it before some late turnovers in that first half. And the Eagles, give them all the credit in the world, they capitalized on it. Do you think if Purdy plays all 4 quarters of that game, the Niners win? Because I've talked to a lot of people today who seem to be of varying minds about it and thought even if Purdy played, the sample we had in that, first quarter of the game kind of gave some people the feeling that the Eagles were actually the better team.
I think at the very least there would have been some closure, and I think that's the most difficult part. I personally think that the 49ers had a great game plan to slow down that Eagles offense, and it may not have been reflected in the final score, but as you mentioned, there was the fumble just before halftime that gave them a short field. They had that drive extended by a questionable roughing the punter penalty where Jordan Mason was blocked. He was pushed from behind into the punter by an Eagles, lineman. The biggest thing that I took away from this was that it felt like the 49ers defense had that great game plan, but it was kind of, exercised in futility because they knew that offense wasn't going to be able to move the ball, particularly once Johnson went down, and they literally did not have an able-bodied quarterback that was able to throw the ball downfield. The number I keep coming back to is the 49ers defense held the Eagles to 3.8 yards per play, which is well below their season average and well below the explosive ceiling that they've demonstrated all year, which led to them being the number one seed in the NFC. So I think that the Niners had a chance to pull out a close game. I think they had a great game plan, and I think that Brock Purdy showed that he was a guy that was able to distribute the ball to these, this all-star cast the 49ers have at the skill position. But even if they were to have lost with Brock Purdy, I think the most deflating thing is just not getting that closure and forever wondering what if and what could have been. And unfortunately, we'll never get the answer to that.
Coaches, though, and, coaches are always looking for something to motivate guys. Because people get complacent. People sometimes you hear hangovers, conference championship game hangovers, Super Bowl hangovers, whatever it may be. If you're Kyle Shanahan, there is no shortage of motivators that you come into next season with coming out of a game like this. I mean, it is not going to be difficult to motivate this 49er team for next season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that's got to be so tough is that so many of these guys that are the core foundational pieces of this team have come so close to, cresting that mountaintop and hoisting a Lombardi trophy. They obviously lost that heartbreaking game in Miami in 2019 when they actually made the Super Bowl, and then coming a game short each of the last two seasons. I think that hunger will always be there for these guys. But I think it's a firm reminder of just how difficult it is to win in this league. Because when you look at this Niners roster on paper, they're just so loaded at so many key positions. And they have so much blue chip talent. Guys that are going to be in Canton one day, guys that are going to be, filling all pro teams and Pro Bowls for years to come. And it really just, some things you can't predict. And I think the fact that we got to the point that they had, their fourth quarterback of the year out there. And then Josh Johnson, unfortunately, ends up getting hurt too. And you literally don't have an able-bodied quarterback. You're having Christian McCaffrey have to switch helmets to get a headset in his. I think it's just one of those situations where these guys know how talented they are, and you're absolutely right. I don't think they'll need the motivation, but I do wonder how much of a toll it's taking getting this close year after year and coming up just short.
Let me ask you something. How close was Jimmy Garoppolo?
So I had heard that he was getting scheduled back to be able to participate in practice, and that the X-rays were trending in the right direction. So I'm of the belief that had they been able to win that game in Philadelphia, it was trending towards him being able to potentially be available for the Super Bowl, which obviously would have been 2 weeks out. And so that's why even with Josh Johnson in there was kind of that glimmer of hope where if they could maybe steal this game and find a way to win, you turn it over to Jimmy G, and then it would just kind of complete this fiasco roller coaster season we've seen with all these twists and turns. But unfortunately, it didn't end up working out that way.
Last one. I got about 45 seconds. Where's this team go in the draft? I think they got 11 picks in this year's draft. Where do you see them trying to improve upon a team that's already this good? I got 30 seconds. Go.
Absolutely. I would say safety right away. They need to add some more youth into the back end of that secondary, and you can always count on John Lynch in this front office identifying and targeting some talented edge rushers. So those would be the two positions I'd keep an eye on the most, and then probably an offensive lineman somewhere in there as well.
Jordan, outstanding work. Thank you for coming on, especially on short notice. Really enjoyed it. Let's do this again, particularly during the offseason as this quarterback situation plays out.
Absolutely. Anytime. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great stuff with Jordan Elliott tonight. 49ers reporter over at Niners Nation. That's part of the SB Nation family as well. We're back with more on the other side. Hour one of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Thanks. It's not hour one. It's hour three. It's no hour reference, dummy. I will tell you between play that back for you every night. Tomorrow, Mike Golick on the show. And Brian won't even be here to work the show. It's a bummer. We did not give you a live betting winner tonight. There were only a couple of games going on. There wasn't anything I was terribly in love with. So we give you nothing. That's what you get tonight. Tuesday in the NBA is going to be fun, though. We'll be coming on right after the Knicks and the Lakers tomorrow night. You know who else I got to get on? Maybe we'll get him this week. Stan Van Gundy's got to come on the show. I've been texting with him. I just haven't been bothering him to come on. All-Star games around the corner, so got to figure out a good day to get Stan on the show. So I promised at the beginning of the night I was going to do something in honor of the return of Brian McDonald to the show because he was taken away from me. Somebody kidnapped him and locked him in a closet somewhere for like a month. Has it been 3 weeks? In honor of the return of Brian McDonald, producer engineer extraordinaire in Houston, I said I would talk wrestling tonight, and it's perfect. Yep, I said, what is that? Did you hear that? Are you playing something? What are you doing? I'm like, why am I hearing myself back from like 7 minutes ago? I was like, is it coming from Mars or something? Oh, God. Oh, my God. It was like the night. It was literally like the night. I mean, swear to God, this is what happened. I had John Belmer running the show, who we have nicknamed The Standard, who works up on the show. He just does great work. But he does great work. He really does. I love the guy. Belmer does a great job. And he always goes above and beyond. But he was working on the show one night, and I said, literally we were like 30 seconds out from the break. I said, by the way, your new nickname is The Standard. And he was like, oh, yeah, really? And I was like, yeah. And literally he goes, and we're coming back from break, and he plays the rejoin to Anthony Pepe's show. Literally 5 seconds after I called him The Standard. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't make this up. So, anyway, I promised we would talk wrestling tonight because last night was the Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania has begun. If you missed it, it's been 2 days, so I don't feel bad if I spoil it for you. Rhea Ripley wins on the women's side. Not only does she win the Women's Royal Rumble, she goes coast to coast, only the fourth wrestler in WWE/WWF history to run the gauntlet from 1 to 30. She wins the Royal Rumble. We also saw the return of Nia Jax in that match, by the way. Oh my God! It's Nia Jax! Is it? Can it be? Where's Michael Cole? Can it be? Exactly. She broke Becky Lynch's nose. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Not kill somebody in the ring. Yeah, not kill somebody. So she came back. But anyway, Rhea Ripley wins the Women's Royal Rumble. As you would have expected, Cody Rhodes wins the men's. I mean, that was as predictable as, the sun will come up the next morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. I thought the coolest moment of that match, and I know you're going to agree with me, I know you well enough, was Logan Paul. And who was the guy? Who was the guy on the other side of the ring? Who was it? They dove across. Him and Ricochet literally jumping off of the ropes on the side of the ring, doing these leaping jumps and literally meeting at like the middle of the ring and clotheslining each other. That was easily the coolest part of that whole match. That was like the holy bleep moment. That was it in that match. Yes. Yeah. I wish Logan Paul was more than a guest role because he can wrestle. The dude can fly. Yeah. SummerSlam? No, Saudi, the crown thing. Yeah. Crown Jewel. Yeah, no. If he wrestled full time, I think he'd be like, yeah, I do. Yes. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I was impressed with him. So Cody Rhodes wins. Is that who's going to be the one to end the run of Roman Reigns, though? Sure. Yes. Oh. Oh, I like it. You think they're going to give Sami Zayn a world title? Yeah. Yeah. But was it Jimmy Uso or Jay? Which one was it? It was Jay. How does Jay Uso wind up fitting into this story? Like in the end. Yeah. Left the ring with him last night. Or left the ring, yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see it as well. I thought the women's title match had no pop, no buzz. The crowd was just dead. Oh my god, it was terrible. Pitch black. Yeah. 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 Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Raw after we wrap up the show. I have it DVR'd, so I'll be checking out Raw after the show. Maybe we'll have to create a Brian McDonald podcast under the Decibel 88 brand. Might have to work on that. It's gonna put the wraps on us for a Monday. I am back tomorrow night. We'll see Brian back here on Wednesday. Thanks for being with us. Mike Golick on the show tomorrow night on the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Bye. Cool. Nice job. I'll see you Wednesday. Cool. Thanks, man. Have a great night. Bye. Da 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 da. All right. For those watching on the video side, thanks for checking us out. We're back tomorrow. Mike Golick on the show. I can't wait. Thanks for hanging out with us. Check us out on TikTok, The Jason Page. No, not The Jason Page. Actually, it is, yes. The Jason Page on TikTok. On Twitter at The Back Page. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all back here on Tuesday night. Congrats to my my bowling partner, Paul Park, tonight. Bowled, almost shot his first 300. Kudos to you, Paul. Congratulations. Shot his first 700 series. It must be that amazing coach that you have. That's what I'm going to credit it to. 279, 179, 263 for Paul Park tonight. 721 series. Congratulations. Nice work. I'm proud of you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.